Ramadan came into your life like a gentle guest, but a guest that changed everything. You woke up before Fajr when the world was silent and your heart felt something it hadn't felt in a long time. You stood in prayer when no one was watching. You whispered dua with sincerity, not out of habit, but out of need. You held back your anger, lowered your gaze, controlled your tongue, and reminded yourself again and again, Allah is watching me. And now Eid is approaching, or perhaps it has already passed. And the question is not, what did Ramadan give you? The real question is, who did Ramadan make you become? Because Ramadan was never meant to be a temporary transformation. It was never meant to be a spiritual boost that fades away with the moon. Ramadan came to show you who you are capable of being. All year long, you prove to yourself that you can pray Fajr on time. Not once, not twice, but every single day. You prove that you can open the Quran daily, reflect on its meanings, and feel its impact. You prove that you can walk away from sin, even the ones that felt impossible to leave. You proved that your nafs is not your master. So why is it that after Eid, we slowly return to old habits as if Ramadan never happened? It's because we misunderstand something very important. We think Ramadan is special because of what we do. But in reality, Ramadan is special because Allah made it a training ground. And the purpose of training is not the training itself, it's what happens after. Imagine someone who trains for 30 days straight, builds discipline, strength, and consistency, and then suddenly stops everything on day 31. What was the point of the training? Ramadan trained your soul. It softened your heart. It built a connection between you and Allah. And if you let all of that slip away, you're not losing small deeds. You're losing a version of yourself that was closer to Allah. But here is the beautiful part. The doors that were open in Ramadan are not closed. Allah did not leave when Ramadan left. The same Allah who listened to your da'ya in the last 10 nights is still listening now. The same Allah who forgave you is still ready to forgive. The same Allah who helped you stand in Qiyam can still give you the strength to pray, even if it's just 2 rakahs at night. So don't think in extremes. You don't have to do everything you did in Ramadan, but you must not leave everything. Hold on to something. Protect it like your life depends on it. Maybe it's your Fajr prayer on time. Don't negotiate with it. Maybe it's 1 page of Quran a day. No matter how busy you are, maybe it's a small daily dhikr that keeps your tongue moist with the remembrance of Allah. Small deeds done consistently are beloved to Allah. And be very careful of one thing, the return of heedlessness. After Eid, distractions come back stronger. Social media, gatherings, entertainment, none of these are haram in themselves, but they can slowly pull your heart away if you're not conscious. Ramadan taught you how to be aware of Allah. Don't lose that awareness. Guard your heart, because the heart you built in Ramadan is delicate. It felt softness, khushu'an, tears. Don't expose it again to what hardens it. And if you slip, because you will, we all do, don't let Shaitan convince you that you have failed. The believer is not the one who never falls, but the one who always returns. Return quickly, return sincerely, return with humility. Ask yourself every day, what from Ramadan am I still carrying with me? Not everything, just something real. Because on the day you meet Allah, Ramadan will not ask you how much you did. It will testify to what changed in you. So don't let Ramadan be a memory. Let it be the beginning of a new you, a you that prays, remembers, reflects, and strives. Not just for 30 days, but for a lifetime. Because the Lord of Ramadan not is the Lord of every single day after it. Ramadan was never meant to be just a phase that comes and goes, leaving you exactly the same as before. It entered your life to shift something deep within you, to awaken parts of your heart that may have been asleep for months or even years. It wasn't about changing your schedule temporarily. It was about changing your direction permanently. During those days and nights, you didn't just fast from food and drink. You distanced yourself from habits that once felt normal. You became more maraqab, where more harder, present, more connected. You paused before speaking. You thought twice before reacting. You chose patience when anger was easier. That didn't happen by accident. That was a transformation. And the most important thing to recognize is this: that version of you was real. It was not a Ramadan version that disappears with the sighting of the moon. It was you, your soul, operating at a higher level because it was finally given the space to breathe and reconnect with its creator. Too often, we reduce Ramadan to a checklist. Did I finish the Quran? Did I pray Taraweeh? Did I give charity? And while all of that is beautiful, the deeper question is, what did those actions do to your heart? Did they soften it? Did they make you more sincere? Did they bring you closer to Allah in a way that changed how you see your life? Because if Ramadan ends and everything ends with it, your Quran closes, your prayers become rushed, your awareness fades, then we have misunderstood its purpose. Ramadan is not valuable because it is limited to 30 days. It is valuable because it is meant to impact the other 335. Think about the discipline you built. You rearranged your entire life around Salah. You woke up in the night willingly. You made time for the Quran no matter how busy you were. That wasn't coincidence. That was qadra, ability that Allah showed you you already have. Ramadan was not here to make you perfect. It was here to show you your potential. And once you've seen that version of yourself, the one who chooses Allah over everything else, you can't pretend you're incapable anymore. One of the most powerful realizations Ramadan gives you is not just spiritual. It is deeply personal. You are capable of consistency, not the kind you imagined for yourself someday, but the kind you actually lived day after day without excuses. You woke up for Fajr even when your body resisted. You stood in prayer at night even when you were tired. You opened the Quran regularly, not because you felt like it, but because you knew you needed it. And perhaps for the first time in a long time, your actions were not controlled by your mood, your laziness, or your distractions. They were guided by intention. That changes everything. Because one of the biggest tricks of the nafs is to convince you that you are weak, that you can't be consistent, that real discipline is for other people. But Ramadan shattered that illusion. It showed you that consistency is not about having endless energy or perfect circumstances. It's about making a decision and honoring it again and again. You didn't wait to feel motivated to fast. You just fasted. You didn't negotiate with Salah. You structured your day around it. You didn't say, I'll read Quran when I have time. You made time. And in doing so, you proved something very important. Your will is stronger than your desires. Even your relationship with sin changed. Things that may have felt small before suddenly felt heavy. You became more aware of your words, your glances, your choices. You held yourself back, not because it was easy, but because you knew Allah was watching. That level of self-control is not accidental. It is a muscle you exercised repeatedly until it became stronger. So when Ramadan ends, don't tell yourself, I can't keep this up. That's not true. You already did. Maybe you can't do everything exactly the same, and that's okay. Life outside Ramadan has its own rhythm, but the foundation you built is still there. The discipline, the awareness, the quwwat al-irada, strength of will. It didn't disappear. It only needs to be maintained. Consistency is not about perfection. It's about istimrar, continuity, even if the actions are small, because the same heart that showed up for Allah in Ramadan is still beating today. Eid is meant to be a moment of joy, gratitude, and celebration, a day where you feel the sweetness of having obeyed Allah, even if imperfectly. But there is a subtle danger that often slips in unnoticed, treating Eid as a finish line instead of a continuation, as if the moment Ramadan ends, the effort ends with it. You may notice it almost immediately. The structure that held your day together begins to loosen. Salah that was once on time becomes delayed. The Quran that was open daily is placed back on the shelf. The carefulness in speech, the lowering of the gaze, the awareness of Allah, all of it begins to fade. Not suddenly, but gradually, and that's exactly how it happens. Not in one big decision, but in small compromises. I'll pray later. I'll get back to Quran tomorrow. It's just this once, until slowly you find yourself back where you were before Ramadan, or sometimes even further. This is why it's important to understand that Eid is not a return to old habits. It is a reward for striving, not a permission to let go. The joy of Eid should come from knowing that Allah allowed you to worship Him, that He gave you the strength to fast, to stand, to make dua. And the real sign that your Ramadan was accepted is not what you did during it, but what you do after it. The scholars used to say that the reward of a good deed is the ability to perform another good deed after it. So if Ramadan truly touched your heart, it will show in your actions beyond it. Not in the same intensity, but in a continued itujah, direction toward Allah. Be careful not to let celebration turn into heedlessness. There is nothing wrong with enjoying halal happiness, gathering with loved ones, or resting after a month of effort. But when enjoyment becomes distraction, and distraction becomes distance from Allah, then something has gone wrong. Eid should feel like nouris, not emptiness. It should carry the ruha, spirit of Ramadan forward, not replace it. So ask yourself, honestly, is my Eid bringing me closer to Allah, or slowly pulling me away? Because the real loss is not that Ramadan has ended. The real loss is letting everything it built within you quietly slip away without resistance after Ramadan. One of the biggest mistakes is thinking that you have to maintain the exact same level of worship. To stay close to Allah, that pressure can feel overwhelming, and when it becomes too heavy, the result is often the opposite. You end up leaving everything altogether. But this is not how this path was meant to be walked. What matters is not doing everything. What matters is not leaving everything. Ramadan showed you many doors of khair, goodness. You prayed more, you read more Quran, you made more dua, you gave more charity. Now the question is not how to keep all of it at once, but which of these doors will you keep open no matter what, even if it's small. Maybe it's 2 rakas before you sleep, quiet, simple, but consistent. Maybe it's 1 page of Quran a day, read with presence instead of rushing through many. Maybe it's a short moment after every salah where you sit and make dhikr, even if it's just a few sincere words. These acts may seem small, but with Allah, they are never insignificant. The beauty of consistency is that it builds a relationship. When you show up every day, even in a small way, you are telling Allah, I am still here. I have not walked away. And that matters more than occasional bursts of intense worship, followed by long gaps of absence. The Prophet ﷺ taught that the most beloved deeds to Allah are those that are consistent, even if they are few. This completely changes how you should think about your Ibadat, acts of worship. It's not about how much you can do in one day. It's about what you can sustain for a lifetime. And small deeds have a hidden power. They protect your heart, they keep your connection alive. They act like anchors in a busy life that constantly tries to pull you away. Without them, it becomes very easy to drift. Also, small, consistent deeds grow. What starts as one page of Quran can become two. What starts as 2 rakas can become a habit of night prayer. But it only grows if it is protected first. So don't underestimate what seems small, because what is small in your eyes can be enormous in the sight of Allah, especially when it is done with sincerity and istismara, consistency. There was something different about your heart in Ramadan. You could feel it. It was softer, more hada, present, more responsive. Verses of the Quran touched you in a way they hadn't before. Duya came out with emotion, sometimes even with tears. You felt a closeness to Allah that is difficult to put into words. That qalb, heart, is a gift, but it is also an amana, trust. And like anything delicate, it needs protection. After Ramadan, life doesn't slow down. It speeds up. Your routine fills again. Your phone takes more of your attention. Conversations become more casual, and slowly, without realizing it, the heart that was once so careful begins to lose that sharp awareness. Not because you chose to walk away, but because you stopped guarding what you built. The heart is constantly being affected. Every word you hear, every image you see, every environment you place yourself in, it either softens it or hardens it. Ramadan surrounded you with the reminders of Allah. The Quran was constant, dhikr was frequent, and even your hunger reminded you of your purpose. But outside of Ramadan, those influences change. This is why guarding your heart becomes essential. Be mindful of what you expose it to. Not everything that is permissible is beneficial. Some things slowly drain your raw spirit, even if they seem harmless. Endless scrolling, unnecessary talk. Environments where Allah is rarely remembered. These things don't damage the heart instantly, but they leave a farther trace over time. And the danger is that you may not notice the change until the softness is gone. Suddenly, the Quran doesn't feel the same. Salah becomes mechanical, du'a feels distant. It's not that Allah moved away, it's that the heart became covered again. So you have to be intentional. Choose gatherings that remind you of Allah.